Welcome, everyone, to episode 91 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide... Oof. Is this a throwback game?
I think the early bird catches one of these.
Oh, that's true. That's true. This episode, we're going to be talking about Worms, W.M.D. by Team 17 Digital. This is an actually fairly old game. This game came out back in August of 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
But not as far back as like 2000, what? 2001, 2002,
right.
Something like that.
When the original stuff came out. Yeah, for sure. I played this on the PC, and it was like 5.03 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Interesting. 6.4 gigabytes on the Xbox One.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty significant increase.
Yeah. Still a small game in the grand scheme of things, but
right.
Bigger than you'd expect it to be.
Absolutely. And, well, what kind of game is this?
I put turn-based strategy, but it looks like you have something a little bit different.
A little bit. Well, yeah. I put 2D turn-based tactical shooter. Because you're shooting stuff. In a way.
You are? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. But I don't know. I thought it's a little different because, what was the first gun that you got to choose? Or what was the first weapon that you got to choose? I mean, granted, yes, there is you can hit someone with a bat, a flaming fist, stuff like that. But for the most part, you're going long range on these suckers.
It's true.
That's why I kind of like, at least from the first hour, that was my experience. And I mean, yes, I've played these types of games before. So, yeah. But how about that game loop?
Use your wits and your worms to kill all the enemy worms.
I liked how you phrased that game loop. I just put beat all the other worms on the level, sometimes with style.
That's true.
Yeah. Sometimes you get that perfect lob of the bazooka round, like right in between the two other worms, and it like goes off and blows up everything else. It's like pretty satisfying.
Triggers one of those replays.
Oh yeah. I saw a lot of those, which was good. But speaking of good things, shall we get into what we liked?
Yeah. I think we both have a pretty healthy list here.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that I could create my own worms, which is, I mean, I haven't played Worms in a while, so I don't know when that mechanic was introduced, but I could tell you when I played it back in college, you couldn't customize these guys.
No.
But I thought it was cool. There were a lot of options to play with, and you can really make them your own.
Yeah.
So that once you're done setting it up, you have they kind of tell a story, In
a way, yes, almost like a D&D character's bio. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, look, it's a tried and true game, right? Like this game has been around for a while, and it's just a classic turn-based action game, and it feels just like all the other ones. Like, I mean, granted, I had to get back into the controls and stuff like that, but it still was like, getting back on that bike and like, oh, okay, this is how I played this game again. I didn't play this as much as I believe the game was called Tank Wars, which is like a DOS game. I mean, yes, but it's older. I get it. But yeah, it's the same thing where but you didn't move the tanks around. The tanks stayed in their positions and you were just lobbing stuff between each other. But, that's besides the point. And I thought this game was funny.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like, they're just like some of the stuff that they said. I mean, just overall, like the stuff that happens, the way that their victory dances, the way that they died, stuff like that. It was like a cute, funny game. Not like, we're not talking, 30 Rock or something of that kind of caliber. Although I guess some of it can be, but it's funny in its way.
Yeah, it's got silly descriptions. Some of the weapons are just ridiculous.
Yeah,
you talked about the fire punch, but there's also like an exploding sheep. Like there's just silliness,
Yes, absolutely. What else did you like about this game, Tom?
We talked about it a little bit. I enjoyed executing those chain reactions, where it's like, okay, well, if I shoot the bazooka, I hit it here, this is going to set off that landmine over there. It's going to catapult one of these worms over here. Then he's going to explode over there. And like, really, this game, I mean, not a big surprise here, right? It is a tactical strategy game.
Yeah.
There is a surprising amount of depth to such a silly looking game. And I just enjoyed that aspect of it where it's, you kind of have a plan and you execute the plan and it works. Yeah. There's a sense of fulfillment there that it's really good.
Yeah, when I was playing, someone dropped onto the stream. His name was Havoc. He mentioned to me that there was like the ranked games get like pretty heated. Like there's a lot of strategy, even just like, because in ranked games apparently you can place where your worms are, and then figure out like from there. Like I guess the maps are always the same. So figuring out where like weapon placements are and getting to them in the, I guess, because what do you have, like 60 seconds to make your move and then do your attack. Yeah. So stuff like that, which is, adds another layer of like, I didn't even think about that worm like your placement, because usually like, I mean, I played the campaign, so it was just the tutorial and the campaign. So I just got dropped in wherever it was, and it's like, okay, figure out how to take out the rest of those worms. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And the one of the things that this game does so well is those moments when you see like an enemy attack just miss you, especially when it's like a missile or something, and you're just like, oh, that was so close. And like, or like seeing your attack just miss an enemy, and it's like, it's those moments of just like tension, that the small moments of tension where you're just like, oh my gosh, I could have done this or could have done, and like you're just like adjusting and stuff like that. And the art style, which, look, this is a game from 2016, it still looks fairly good because it's all like, at least looks hand drawn, and has a style to it that doesn't make it look bad. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it looks like a mobile game at this point, but some mobile games look pretty damn impressive now, I gotta say.
It's true. And like, it's just, it aged well, for a game that's, that many years old already. Like, you could put something like this out today and it would, it looks good, looks fine.
Right. What else we got there, Tom?
I enjoyed that, it had like a tutorial to learn the base mechanics, kind of walk you through how each of the stages work and the weapons and things like that, power-ups. And it had help topics for more like detailed stuff. Like if you really wanted to go and really get into the weeds of things. And so you pointed it out with the ranked game. It's like, there's a lot of depth here. Like, you can pick this up and start playing pretty quickly. You could certainly figure out how to play this game inside that hour that we had to learn it, even if we had never played this franchise before. But you only scratched the surface of the level of tactics and things that exist in this game. As I was playing through the tutorial, it's unlocking things, unlocking extra voice things, extra weapons and things. And I'm like, I'm playing this tutorial and it's unlocking things. And I'm like, oh, because there's that many things to unlock. Like, there's a lot of content here that's included in the game that you're not paying extra for. But rewards for you figuring out how to play and playing and leveling up and things like that. I just think it's a good, it felt good to be like playing through the tutorial, learning the game, and then like get a new victory celebration. I was like, hey, okay, cool. I'm going to equip that now.
Yeah, there was for sure. There was definitely a sense of progression even through the tutorial. And then on top of that, there was you could get like there's rankings even in the tutorial. Like if you beat the tutorial in a certain amount of time, you get like a gold rank and stuff like that. And I think you felt like it was positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I would say like that. It's like you're not being punished in a way, and it's just like, okay, go through the entire tutorial, you'll get something out of it. It's not going to be just a junk kind of tutorial in any way, shape, or form. And same with the campaign. Again, I thought the campaign felt pretty good. Like it had a nice progression to it. There was one where I was a little like, okay, little weirded out, like not weirded out, but more that it was pretty challenging. And then like once I got to it, I was like, okay. And I like the fact that there is no one way to beat a level. So you could like I ended up like there was one level where there was this massive tree in the middle of it, and you could try to lob your weapons across, or your ammo, whatever it is, your grenades, but instead I just shot through the tree, and because everything for the most part is destructible. And then the other cool thing I thought was great was that they added vehicles to this game.
Yeah.
So I thought that would give you like extra armor, but it doesn't. You still get like your regular hit points get depleted if that thing gets hit, unfortunately. But it's still cool. It's still cool to be able to use something, outside of just the weapons that you might have to pick up. And there's a crafting system, Tom. Did you know that?
I heard about it. I didn't get to experience it at all, but
yeah, I got to that. I think that was the last mission that I played, and it was. I mean, you craft your item, and then you have to wait for the next cycle. I think usually that's how long it takes for that item to be available. So you essentially like lose a turn. And the one thing, actually, I'll talk about other dislikes. Anything else you wanted to bring up about things that you liked about this game?
No, I'm gonna kind of save the one thing that I was thinking about mentioning for later.
Okay, I will also say there is a lot of content.
Yes,
all things considered. There's the campaign. There's obviously the tutorial mode, which in itself is very long. And then there's multiplayer. I believe there's online and local multiplayer. That's great. And then I don't know if you noticed in the main menu, but there's like a new like a fort mode.
I didn't know. I saw that, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like you're building forts and then like trying to tear. Oh no, I think you're supposed to actually. I think you're trying to destroy each other's forts, which is pretty cool. Interesting. Throws another thing into the mix.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, there's a ranked mode as well for competitive multiplayer, stuff like that.
Yes.
So yeah. Let's talk about our things that we didn't like.
Yeah, I want to start off by saying I had to create my own worms.
Yeah, that took. I was trying to get through that as quickly as possible because I could see how it could. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, Tom's going to be in a world of hurt right here because it's just going to take him a while to get through it." But yeah, I agree with you. The create your own worm system is pretty in depth for such a simple character.
Yeah, and that's my kryptonite. I spent way too much time on it. I had to eventually go, okay, that's enough of that. I need to actually play the game.
Yeah.
But I resent that I feel like my characters were incomplete and I need to move forward. Speaking of other things I resented, I think that worm dialogue, like their lines of dialogue, got really annoying to me really quickly.
Yeah,
they don't say a lot, so you hear them on a loop say things over and over again.
True.
And they have that kind of like chipmunky voice.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit that they tried to go with different accents and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, hearing 3 lines of dialogue on repeat gets annoying. Doesn't matter what game it is. We had that same problem in that arena game that we played, where I was like, oh, this character or single player character.
Yeah.
Remember that the multiplayer game? Like, I was like, oh, these characters are way too chatty. Like,
yes, Naraka, Blade Point.
Yes, I need my silent protagonists.
We need our protagonists to keep quiet. But it's not even the protagonists here; it's the antagonists that are saying the same stuff too.
That's true.
Which is a problem. Speaking of problems, I wasn't a fan of the controls. I was playing a mouse and keyboard, and I thought that I would have, I don't know how to say it, like an advantage over using controller. But like I felt like they made you use too much of the keyboard. Like they could, I mean, okay. Let me take a step back. I could have probably remapped the controls.
Yes.
That's for sure. But I just like, let me just try to play it as default and see how it goes. But it was like, you know, I had to use the enter key to actually jump, and then the space key was my shooting, and then the right shift was for me to pull up the menu for my weapons. I was like, this I feel like I'm using more buttons here than I would like with a first person shooter or something like that. And I didn't feel like I did anything with the mouse buttons themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I did W and S was to like change the angle of your shot. And then A and D were to move the worm across the plane, the map. And so I was like, this is pretty intense for what I would think is a pretty simple game. Again, I know there's more depth to it, but still, like it just seemed like there was a lot going on over there. Could have just been simplified a little bit. Maybe this is the old school controls. I don't know. I don't remember playing worms like this.
I could tell you that they didn't feel any better on the Xbox. Okay. I didn't like them, and I got the sense that like they were kind of floaty, and I kind of felt like it was intentional. Like like this was a design choice where it's like they want you to flub, and then your missile goes. You know, you hold onto the grenade too long, or you let go of the angle up and down too soon, and you know, like to create chaos, to create mayhem.
Right. I guess that's true.
If everything went exactly where I wanted it every single time, these matches would have been over very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know why. I thought maybe it's just because maybe I'm confusing it with, at this point, like Angry Birds, something like that you would had like a dotted line to see your angle, but I guess not. I mean, maybe that's the whole point. If you had a dotted line, then like this would be so much easier.
Yeah. So I don't think this is a game that wants to be easy. I think this is a game that wants to look easy and actually be kind of a challenge. And that way, when you get good at it, you get real good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. And like, you know, just again, like I thought the movement didn't make sense at times too, when you're double jumping or not double, like just jumping and like getting across to certain areas, like just, I don't know, it just felt awkward. And anything else that you wanted to bring up here about dislikes?
When I was in the tutorial, some of the environments were not destructible, and that seemed random. Like
interesting.
Like in other parts of the game, I guess, like in the campaign or stuff. Like when I blew something up, it blew up. When I shot something, it left a hole in it. But like in parts of the tutorial, like you'd throw a grenade, and if you threw it over here, that part exploded. But you threw it over there, and that part didn't explode. And it just there was no obvious reason to me of why some of it got destroyed, but other parts of it didn't get destroyed.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I did also have a problem with load times. Like there was a lot of load time, like for such a simple game, right? Like this is a 2D platformer, strategy game. All of the character models are basically the same. They're just have different hats and stuff on them. Like, I don't know what it was taking so long to load. Like,
I'm trying to think too.
I would think these things should load up super fast. But they don't.
Yeah, what would be the unless it's like the AI or something for some reason?
Yeah. I don't know. It surprised me. It's like, if you're playing like a really beautiful first person shooter and it loads, this whole long level and there's no load times or anything while you're playing the game, you go, okay, like I get it. Like I get why this took so long to load. But in a game like this, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah. I mean, they were probably programming it in a certain way that, it was 2016. Who knows? They were probably programming this on a TI-83. I don't know. Who freaking knows?
Maybe it's running on the same Worms code from the...
Yes.
They've just layered it on top for 20 years.
That would be awful.
Don't do that. Any bad programming.
No, don't do that. Any other thoughts here, Tom?
Yeah, I think I think you mentioned it earlier. There are a lot of options and there's a lot of content here. And one of the things that surprised me is I finished one of the levels and then they aired a commercial. They aired a commercial for like discount tanks, and I was like, "What is happening here?" It was like animated, and it was like they had done some 2D like hand drawn animation stuff, and I was like, "This is really bizarre." Like, is there a lot of this? If every couple of levels I'm going to get one more of these? Like, it made me wonder, like, what other content is in the game that I hadn't seen yet.
Yeah.
And we talked a bunch of modes that neither of us played. So
right, yeah.
There's a lot.
I mean, I was just trying to chug my way through the campaign to see how far I got in that. But yeah, but this game from 2016, Tom, has Xbox cloud saves.
How does that make sense?
How does it make sense? Why does Plague Tale not have it, but this game does? But it takes forever to load, apparently. So that's another issue. How long to beat says the story mode / the campaign mode takes about 13 and a half hours. Just surprising amount. Again, long. And again, it might just be because like, you stink at the game or whatever, or the game just gets that much more challenging, which it did. Like when I got to that crafting part, it got a lot more challenging.
Some of mine dragged on as well.
Yeah. So I could see that. I could definitely see that being a long time. But again, not just story mode. There's just so much other content there that we're not even like considering here.
It's true.
But Tom, we got to find out though. Are we keeping this game? Or But before we get to that, we wanted to let you know about our spectacular sponsor, Winner Winner. Winner Winner is a live arcade claw machine game available on Android and iOS, and it's 100% skill-based. Trust me, if you see me play my games, you know I'm not that great, and I still have won games on my first try. There's hundreds of prizes, even featuring gaming merch from Nintendo. Pick your prize from choices in your particular game, or bank your earnings with tickets to redeem any other prize you want from their wide selection. And for all you lovely people listening or watching our show, you can get bonus tokens on your first app token purchase. Download and create your account, then use the link in the episode's description to enter promo code DALE after you sign in. Check it out. It's clawsome.
I had to think about it, because I went into this thinking that this was going to, and we talked, I think we mentioned it at the end of the last episode, like, how are we going to spend an hour playing this, right? Like, we're going to play this for 15 minutes. We're going to go, okay, I get how to play Worms, and now I'm stuck here for another 45, right?
Right.
But I'll be honest, like it went by very quickly for me, you know. I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised. I think my expectation was that this was going to be not a great time. And as you know, for better or worse, as a consequence, I'm not sure. I really actually had a lot of fun. And since it's not a very large game, I'm going to keep it.
Wow. The Surprise Me button surprised Tom.
It definitely did. I'm you know, there might be some level of it being the nostalgia factor of this is something that we did play, 20 years ago. But I don't know, 6 gigs. I can give up 6 gigs on my Xbox and roll with this a little bit longer.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with you. This is a game that I was surprised about. And this definitely, I could see this being a pretty fun experience, like with like if I have friends over and like playing it locally, and just blowing each other up and just be hilarious.
Yes.
And again, the campaign was interesting enough and challenging enough that I could see myself going back and playing it again. And on top of that, like the campaign had like obviously the base objectives of like just clearing the screen of your enemies, but then there was like other little challenges that they throw in there. Some of them, like, to me, I was like, how do I do that? That's impossible. But someone, okay, I think I could go back and beat that. So there's that like kind of, I don't know if it's grindy, but whatever it is, but it's interesting. But those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D, or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, send us a comment down below, and we promise to read and even respond. Yeah. 1H1D is part of the QTB network. If you like gaming podcasts, be sure to check out Quit the Build, a weekly gaming news podcast. Or to see the whole lineup, check out quitthebuild.com/network. All right, Tom. It's about that time.
That's it. We end the episode right here, right?
Yeah. No. We need to be surprised again.
Yes.
By the Surprise Me button.
We need to know what the next episode's about.
We do. So here we go. Let's find out.
What's it gonna be?
Far Cry 5.
You paused there for a second. It could have been a lot of different possible Far Cries.
It was 5.
Okay. That's
we got the sequel.
I think is that the newest one?
To the sequel. I think I got that right. Yes.
I've lost track of the Far Cries. Is 5 the newest one, or is there a 6?
It is not. 6 is at least according to this recording, 6 is the latest one.
Okay.
So yes, Far Cry 5 is what we're going to be playing next. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.